All right. Good afternoon, everyone. Thank you for joining us in this webinar. Today we have CubiCasa here to demonstrate their revolutionary mobile app that produces detailed and attractive floor plans. And floor plans up to 5,000 square feet are free for Realcomp subscribers. And as long as when you download the app, you affiliate yourselves with Realcomp, if you decide to purchase upgrades, and I know Joseph and Daniela will cover this, but as long as you associate yourself with Realcomp, then you'll be entitled to the 20% off discount. So I do want to introduce Joseph McDermott. And thank you, Joseph. He is with us from CubiCasa. He is the strategic sales manager. And then I do want to introduce Daniela Rascatino, and she is customer support from CubiCasa. So we are really excited to have you here again with us. And I'm going to turn it over to you both. I'll mute myself, and we look forward to learning about the floor plans.
Excellent. Well, thank you so much, everyone, again for joining us. I'm going to go ahead and share my screen here as we get things kicked off, just so that will be up and available for you. As mentioned, my name is Joseph. I'm on our partnerships team here at CubiCasa. So I oversee our MLS partnerships, and I'm excited to chat with all of you today as we continue our partnership with Realcomp and bring you this amazing tool if you haven't had a chance to use it already. I'm joined by Daniela from the success and support side of things. She'll give us a closer look at some of the tools and features that you can start using within CubiCasa. But to start things out, I'll spend about 15 minutes or so with you, walking you through a few things. So first and foremost, we'll talk about what CubiCasa is in general, if you're not familiar. We'll touch on the benefits of floor plans and why they're important to include on your listings. And then we'll take a look at the technology itself, so the mobile app that you can actually use to scan properties and create floor plans. And then the result of that, the deliverables that will be available for you, so the actual floor plan images themselves. From there, we'll pause for a couple minutes to touch on any sort of questions that have come through. And then, like I said, I'll toss it over to Daniela to kind of dive into the product itself a little bit more. We'll take a look at the dashboard where you can access your floor plans, how you can edit them, customize them, all that sort of fun stuff after the fact. As we're walking through everything today, please feel free to use the Q&A function to send over any questions that you have. We'll be keeping tabs on that to make sure that we get all of your questions answered, and we'll leave the room open for a couple minutes at the end just for any additional questions that come through. Last bit of sort of housekeeping here. I've included a QR code on the screen. For those of you that would like to get started, you can scan this to create your account, to actually set up the account, get things started. We'll pull this up a few times throughout the call, and we'll leave it up again at the end when we kind of touch on the Q&A. So don't feel rushed like you have to do this right now, but that will be available for you. And then we'll touch on how to affiliate your account with the MLS if you already have an existing CubiCasa account. But I think that's it for all the sort of housekeeping stuff. So let's go ahead and dive right in. So at CubiCasa, we have one main goal here in the US, and that's to bring a floor plan to every single real estate listing across the country. So to start out, let's talk about the why behind that, how we came to be, and how you can actually help us on that mission. So we are seeing a floor plan demand gap in the US. Consumers are asking for floor plans. They're already familiar with floor plans on, the multifamily and rental side of things. But when we look at active listings, they're only on about 10 to 15% of listings right now. And if we look at NAR research, one of the questions that gets asked in the buyers and sellers survey, which I'm sure some of you are familiar with, the report comes out every year. But one of the questions asks what website features are considered the most valuable for a listing. And what we can see is, the basic of all basics are always going to be 1 and 2. Photos and detailed info about the property is what is going to be the most important to consumers. But for me personally, I don't really count it as a listing if it doesn't have the 2 of those. So what we can see is that floor plans are always in that top spot outside of the basics. So we know that this is something that, consumers are demanding and asking for, and the results have remained very much unchanged over the last few years. Something I always like to call out that I find really interesting is even throughout the pandemic and when that kind of shifted, the home buying process to be taking place a little bit more online versus in person, floor plans continued to outrank things like virtual tours. So we know that this is something that consumers really want to see on listings. But why? I think the easiest reason to kind of boil it down is that it gives them an easy to understand quick glimpse into the entire property. So it allows them to make sense of the entire home better than any other digital asset. If they are on, a search portal, for example, pulling up a listing, swiping through photos, you're essentially going to be learning about that property kind of room by room or piece by piece. But when you have the floor plan available, it's not only going to help to tie all of those photos together where you can make sense of what's beyond the room in the photograph, but it gives you that glimpse into the entire property to understand the flow between the rooms, how they're connected. You can understand the size of the space. You can make sense of if and where current furniture will fit. But I think the most important piece of a floor plan is really understanding if the layout suits your client's family and what they're looking for. Do they need the children's bedrooms to be near the primary bedroom, for example? Or on the flip side, do they want to be as far away from the kids as possible? Is there a dedicated guest or office space that's kind of off the main action of the home? A floor plan is really going to be the best way to make sense of these types of questions and understand the property before taking that next step. So now that I've got you thinking about, kind of the benefits of floor plans in general, how does that lead into your listings and why they should be included? There's a couple of key reasons that I like to highlight. First is it's an easy way to stand out when you include floor plans and really just great media in general. One of the real world examples that we're seeing right now with some of our users is they'll actually scan the property while they're on site as part of the listing presentation. So not only is that showing this potential client, this extra work that you're going to put in to create really great marketing materials, but it gives a really nice touch point the following day. Once the floor plan's actually been created, you can then share that with that potential client and kind of go back over how you're going to use that as part of the marketing. And plus, because floor plans are still, kind of gaining traction in the US right now, it's an easy way for the listing to stand out and then for you personally to stand out as being that kind of forward-thinking agent in the market. The second key reason I always like to highlight is what I previously mentioned. Consumers want to see floor plans. So this is such an easy way for you to appeal to potential home buyers and can even help you to generate better qualified leads who really know and understand that the property is, works for what they're looking for before they actually take any next step, whether it be contacting you as the listing agent, or if you're working on the buy side, setting up time to tour the property, you can kind of filter through and really save time for everybody involved. So again, all of this that we've talked about thus far is kind of about floor plans in general. How does that lead into what CubiCasa is and why I'm actually chatting with you today? So to give you some high-level background, we started a number of years ago essentially as a redraw service. So agents or photographers would send us, a sketch that they had done of the home and hand measurements and that sort of thing. But we've evolved into what we are today, which is an amazing mobile app that allows you to quickly and easily scan a property in just a couple of minutes to get an accurate floor plan to showcase, of course, the layout of the home and then things that consumers want to see, the individual room dimensions for the bedrooms, the living spaces, and all of that. Now, I'm sure it sounds like that's going to be a very, time-consuming, complicated technical process, but it's honestly the opposite of all of those. The app is very easy to use. If you look at this image on the right-hand side of the screen, that gives you a good glimpse into the steps that you'll take. You'll open up the app, start a new scan, enter in and confirm the property address, and then you'll be ready to get started. As you can see, it will pull up sort of like a camera type view, and we'll take a look at an actual scan in action in a second here. But once that camera type view pulls up, you simply walk the perimeter of every room within the home, and then the perimeter of any exterior spaces that you want included, things like porches, patios, decks, garages, basically anything that you want included on the floor plan itself. You'll also get real-time feedback as you're walking through. So you'll see this sort of red caution tape pop up across the screen to help you to correct things in real time. So if you're moving too quickly, for example, if you get too close to a wall, we'll help you to adjust that which makes the process, as easy as possible for you as the scanner. But the more important piece of that is it allows you to get the most accurate scan, which will get you the most accurate floor plan and measurements as the end result. The last thing I always like to highlight is that the app is available for both Apple and Android devices. Any device from the last 10 years or so will work for you. So you definitely don't need to have the latest and greatest. So now I want to give you a look at an actual scan in action. Unfortunately, I can't show, like a live demo of me kind of walking through my house scanning. So this will be the next best thing. One thing I do like to point out, what we're going to view here is the experience on iPhone. So it will look a little bit different on Android, but the concept will still be the same. Now, I apologize if this is kind of blurry or pixelated since we're over streaming. I'll send the link for this video within chat. So if you want to take a closer look after the fact, you can. But we'll see two separate views here. So the main view is going to be what the scanner sees on screen. So the actual sort of video type view that I mentioned, you'll see that red caution tape pop up as she's walking through. And then this bottom view is us actually recording her doing the scan. So you can see how she's just kind of walking around the perimeter of the space, scanning every room as she goes. You'll notice she scanned a closet a second ago. You want to make sure to capture all of those spaces. And then once she finished the interior of the home, now she's stepped outside. There's a deck area that she wants included on the floor plan. There's a hot tub in the backyard as well. So all of this can be captured and created into the floor plan itself. You'll want to capture anything like, detached garages, ADUs, any of that as part of one single scan. Once you've completed the scan, you'll be able to submit it to us directly within the app. If you're in an area with, poor cell coverage or you're not connected to Wi-Fi, you can basically save it as a draft within CubiCasa. And then once you're connected to Wi-Fi or have better cell service, you can submit it to us that way. But it really is just as simple as that. Just kind of walking through the interior of the space. There's no, expensive equipment to buy. You don't need any 360 cameras or anything like that. Just the mobile app and the phone that you already have in your pocket. Now, once the scan is complete, the floor plans will be available to download within 24 hours, and that scanning process will work on all different types of properties. So that video example that we saw just showed some highlights of the interior and exterior of the space. This is a good example I always like to show because it's a pretty non-traditional layout. We've got some curved walls in here. There's a pool in the backyard, an ADU. Anything like this can be captured in one single scan to get you an accurate floor plan for your listings. And this example is just one single story, but the same process will be true if you have a home with multiple stories. We recommend starting in the basement or lowest floor of the home, scan that entire level. You'll scan the staircase as you walk up to the next floor without pausing or stopping the scan that next floor, and so on. And then, of course, you want to scan any of those exterior spaces that you want featured on the floor plan, and all of that can be captured in one single scan. Now, once you've actually completed that scan, I mentioned the floor plans will be available to download within 24 hours. You can download them either within the mobile app or on the desktop site, which we'll take a closer look at here in a few minutes. The key thing to highlight is that we've partnered with Realcomp to offer unlimited basic free floor plans. So this is a really great option to, start making this more standard practice when you're getting a listing put together. It only takes you a couple of minutes. And of course, the highlight of this is that there's no cost involved. This basic version will cover properties up to 5,000 square feet scanned area. So that will include the internal square footage, and then any exterior spaces that you scan will be factored into that as well. So again, those porches, patios, decks, that sort of thing. The floor plans can be saved out in a couple different ways. The example that we see here includes the individual room dimensions. If you wanted something as more of kind of a marketing piece, something that you'll post on, social media marketing, that sort of thing, you can save it out with just the room labels as well. And that way it will just kind of show the layout of the home rather than focusing in on the specific details of sizing. Now, on top of this free basic version, there are a number of add-ons that you can choose from. Everything that we offer is on an a la carte basis. So you can pick and choose what you actually need for each individual property. And as Fran mentioned, you're going to see a 20% discount on any of these options that you select. Our most popular is fixed furniture, which we are moving to be called Plus. This will include things like appliances in the kitchen, any fixtures in the wet spaces, so tubs, toilets, vanities, shower stalls, HVAC units, water heaters, all that stuff will be included on the floor plan. We also have a GLA report. We have any appraisers on the call today. That's the gross living area report, which will show the livable versus non-livable square footage. I'll take a closer look at that in just a second here to give you a full example of what that report looks like. And then these last two options here. So I mentioned that free basic version will be turned around within 24 hours and cover properties up to that 5,000 square foot threshold. If you do need a faster turnaround time, that's available. And then if you do have a property that goes above that 5,000 square foot threshold, there is an additional cost to that just due to the increased production cost. Now, as part of our partnership with Realcomp, you're going to see that 20% discount automatically. And your first scan will actually include all of these paid 2D options for free. So once you set up your account, it's a really nice way for you to see what a plus or fixed furniture floor plan looks like. If you want a closer example of the GLA report, if you're not as familiar with that, it's a really nice way to get a chance to check out all of that without having to purchase any products. Something I always like to highlight too, a common question we get, after you complete your first scan, you do need to add a credit card on file to verify the account. We're a global company, and the US is actually the only country that we offer that free basic option within. So we use that to verify what country you're scanning within. And then once your billing's all set up, you're never going to be charged if you're just using the free option, very similar to putting a card on file at a hotel for incidentals. If you don't destroy the room or raid the mini bar, you're not going to be charged. Same situation here. And then if you do want to choose one of these options, or if you have a property that goes above that 5,000 square foot threshold, your info will all be set up and ready to go. Now, I did want to give a closer look at the GLA report for any appraisers, or just even if you're a regular agent, if you have an interesting property that has, say, a partially finished basement, for example, or if the top story of the home has areas with low ceiling height, this is a really nice way to display what the livable versus non-livable square footage is of the home. So you'll get one single PDF report like you see here. If you can see my cursor, it will include the floor plan image along the top and then all of the area calculations along the bottom. You're going to get consistent results. We actually align to ANSI standards, so it's right in line with what appraisers need and use, and the report allows you to quickly and easily upload directly into appraisal software. But I always like to highlight this just because if you do have those interesting homes that I was mentioning before, partially finished basement, anything like that, this is a nice way to help the seller really understand where that calculation is coming from for the livable square footage. And then, of course, on the buy side, understanding what areas are heated, finished, all that sort of good stuff. Now, something that we recently launched as well is a line of 3D floor plan options. So this is a style that a lot of apartment communities have switched to, just kind of better helps to visualize the space. You have the option of adding in the actual furniture into the space, which I think really helps people better visualize what their furniture would look like within the home. And then we'll match the colors and textures as well. So it again just helps to kind of better immerse yourself into what the property looks like, but still get that sort of overall bird's eye view. So we've got static floor plan images like you see here. We have a video rendering option, which will be, a couple minute long video walking through that rendered space. And then we also have CAD files. So if you're working with somebody who's going to flip the home, remodel the kitchen, install a new bathroom, anything like that, it's a nice way to do all of that digitally before you actually go in and start any sort of, demolition of the property in real life. Now, I know many of you are going to be hiring a photographer already when you're getting your next listing put together. The good news is that if this is something you want, but don't necessarily want to do yourself, we work with a number of photographers who will create the floor plans for you as part of their photo packages. So this, you can find it within the CubiCasa dashboard, but this QR code is available as well to scan and find local photographers to work with. The last thing I always like to highlight on my end is our amazing support team. We've talked about a lot of different things. Daniela is going to show us a lot of different cool things that you can do and may have questions about as you get started scanning. You'll be able to reach us at any time. We have live chat baked into both the mobile app and the desktop version. There's a little chat bubble that will kind of follow you throughout. So it's very easy to get in touch. And we also have a dedicated email alias specifically for our MLS partners, which is just mlshelp@cubicasa.com. Now, moving into the next steps for you to get started. First step, of course, is to create your CubiCasa account if you haven't already. I'll pull up that QR code and leave it up for a couple minutes in a second here. You can also click through the link on your MLS dashboard. Either option will automatically affiliate your MLS membership and pre-populate that discount for you. If you already have an existing account, we'll show you in a couple minutes here how to go into your settings just to verify and make sure that you've got your MLS association in there and that you are getting that discount for any paid options that you select. Once your account is created, you'll be ready to start scanning and getting floor plans for your listings. It really could not be any easier. I always recommend, download the app and do a test scan of your own home. You'll see how quick and easy it is and what the results look like. And then moving forward, you're going to be giving consumers exactly what they're looking for. So it's going to help you to stand out and hopefully help you to sell homes a little bit faster as well. So that's everything that I wanted to cover on my end. I'm going to pull up the QR code. We'll leave this up, like I said, while I check in with Daniela to see what sort of questions have popped up that we can share with the group. And then she'll give us a closer look at the dashboard and some of the features that you can start using today.
Perfect. Well, we got a lot of questions. I tried to get to as many as I could, but some of the ones that I do want to highlight that I saw were asked repeatedly was how to scan a property that has multiple floors.
Mhm.
And I recommend scanning the entire property in one scan. And it doesn't really matter where you start, but I do recommend starting at a place where it might be easier for you to have a more smooth scanning path. So usually that's starting from the bottom and then working your way up. I do want to mention that you can scan exterior spaces as well, like pools, patios, balconies, detached sheds, or anything like that that's within 300 feet of that main property. So you don't need to stop and recreate a scan. I highly suggest putting everything within just one scan if possible. Then another question that I saw come up was how billing works, and I will show you here a view of how to access your billing. But billing works if you do decide to purchase add-ons is once per month you will be billed at the beginning of the month for any orders created within the previous month. And that will include any add-ons or any large order processing fees, but there won't be anything outside of that that you have to worry about. And a few questions on labels and room names. So when you do scan the property, our system is actually able to see what that specific label should be based on what's inside. So if it captures a bed or if it captures kitchen, appliances, things like that, our AI system will actually be able to automatically detect those labels for you. In whatever case that it's not able to see those labels, or maybe it didn't come back with the correct label that you would like, you can actually go into a quick edit tool that I will highlight here in just a few minutes and change and modify those labels yourself. So don't feel like you are limited to what the labels the system gives you. You have full freedom to adjust them and modify them as you would like.
Awesome. Well, I'll keep tabs on any sort of questions, so keep them coming in, and I'll toss it over to Daniela to take us through the dashboard.
Awesome. Thank you, Joseph. All right, well, let me go ahead and get my screen shared here. And if I can just get a thumbs up, Joseph, once you guys can see my screen. Perfect. Well, as Joseph mentioned, I am with the customer support and success team here at CubiCasa, and I am excited to be able to walk you through the process of how to navigate through your dashboard page. Just so you know, you do have access to both your app account and the web version. They're both the same account, linked with the same information, but I will be covering the web version for us today, simply because there's more functionality and tools that are available for you that I would love to highlight. And as Joseph mentioned, feel free to ask your questions at any point in the Q&A section, and I'd be more than happy to cover anything more in depth at the end. But once you create your CubiCasa accounts and you log in, you'll be able to see your screen, your dashboard page that I have pulled up here. And if you don't have any scans created, your screen might look slightly different than mine. You'll simply have a video that will show you our best scanning practices so that you can get started in creating your scan and be comfortable with how to use the app as you scan the property. Once you create your scan and send it to us for processing, then your screen will look just like mine. So here at the top, you will have access to local photographers in your area that provide a floor plan with their photography packages. So if you are too busy to create a floor plan yourself, you can order a floor plan through these services here. There is a location icon here on the right corner where you can even expand the radius or the location that you would like as well. Then below, you will have a snapshot view of your orders within the last 30 days, a view of your current monthly bill, and then below is the most important information, which is your most recent orders. You can also view all your orders within this order tab here on the left-hand side and filter them according to your preferences. But the fastest way to always get to an order is through your dashboard page. From here, simply select the address and you will be redirected to that specific order page. Now, a few key things to highlight that you will see within each order page is here at the top, you will have your order information. This will include things like your specific order ID, if you ever need to contact our customer support team, any add-ons included, and the total scanned area within your floor plan. Below is where you'll be able to preview your floor plans once they have already been delivered, and you will have different options to view them depending on the add-ons that have already been selected. So here I have a floor plan with our earth tone style with fixed furniture. You can choose to see it both with and without dimensions. If you select the GLA add-on, you'll be able to see your GLA floor plan here under the GLA tab. All 3D products will be housed under this 3D product tab here in the top banner. And from here, you'll be able to view the add-ons that you have purchased. Now, in the event that you decide you want to include more add-ons after your order has already been processed, I think I saw a question on what if I want to add, more file types or CAD files. You can do that in this Order More button here at the top. From here, you can simply select the option that you would like to include. We will give you information on the general pricing as well as the expected turn time. From here, you can select purchase, and our team will start to get working on those add-ons for you, and you will receive an email notification once those new products have been delivered to you. And lastly is your downloading options. So here on the left-hand side will come with the free version. So you'll be able to download your floor plans in different formats as well as in PDF printouts as well. Your GLA and your 3D products will also be available for download here at the bottom as well. Now, next, like I mentioned, I do want to cover what to do if you ever need to make any modifications or changes to your floor plan, such as label changes. Maybe you need to move around or hide dimensions within certain spaces. And we really have two options that are available for you. The first option that I will cover here is our Quick Edit tool, which is available under the Actions tab. From here, simply select Use Quick Edit, and you will be redirected to a new tab. I do want to say that this tool works best on a Chrome or Edge browser. Safari and Firefox seem to have some issues with accessibility. So once you have this tool pulled up and your floor plan loads, you can select the individual floor that you would like to adjust. If you select all floors, you can even adjust the floor label name. So sometimes instead of floor 1, you might want basement. then floor 1, and so on. And you can adjust it here simply by double-clicking it and starting to type the label that you would like. So let's say we want to adjust some labels. Simply select the floor label that you'd want to adjust. Double click on that label. You'll have this black box appear. And from here, you can highlight the label name and add your own or choose from the pre-populated list of labels that we have. So maybe I want dining room instead of area. And then the label has been adjusted for you. If you hover your mouse over that label and drag it, you can adjust the positioning. And you can also use this top dot here, it might be a little bit hard to see, to then drag and rotate the label to whatever positioning you would like. At the top, there are options to increase or decrease the label sizing. If you do choose to purchase the fixed furniture, you can even move and adjust the fixtures yourself or add new fixtures if you'd prefer. Now, there's quite a lot more that you can do with this tool. For the sake of time, I won't be able to cover everything. However, we do have a Help Center article, which I know Joseph will be posting in the chat as well for you to access. And this article will give you step-by-step instructions on how to access a quick edit and everything that can be done with this tool. Some of these instructions will even include video tutorials for you. So great resource if you are interested in going deep and diving into all the editing features available for you. But once you are done making the adjustments you want to your floor plan, simply select the floppy disk at the top. You will have a pop-up asking you if you want to save the model. You will select OK. Your screen will load, and then you can exit out of this tab and probably wait 3 to 5 minutes for your dashboard page to update for you and your floor plan to be ready. So as the name of this tool implies, it's a quick and easy way to make adjustments to your floor plan. It does not require customer support assistance. You are in charge of the edits that you make, and it's a great option if you are in a time crunch or you just need those changes to be done right away. Now, for changes that are a little bit more complicated or changes to 3D products, the next available option for you will be the change request functionality, which is available again under the Actions tab as well. From here, you can select which product you would like to make adjustments to. For the 2D product, we do have common issues that you can review from again if you'd like. And if it's not there, you can simply go under the New Request option, describe what is missing or wrong with your floor plan. Maybe you forgot to include the garage on your scan and you need it to be added. And even upload a reference file for us. So for example, if it's a missing bedroom, you can upload a picture showing us exactly where that bedroom would be since it wasn't scanned. You can also make as many changes as you would like within one change request, so don't feel limited there. Once you send your change request for your 2D file, it typically takes our team just a few hours for us to process and redeliver that back to you, and you will receive an email notification letting you know once that change request has been completed. For 3D products, we do have a list of changes that we can and can't support for both the floor plan and the video. And you can also use the new request function. Maybe you want to change the style of your furniture, or you want to change the speed of your 3D video. You can make those changes and requests here. Just a note on turn times, 3Ds take a little bit more time for a team to adjust and modify, so you can expect those change requests back within 12 hours, more than likely less if our team is able to. And again, you will receive an email notification with the 3Ds once your changes have been done and delivered. So that is pretty much it when it comes to navigating through a specific order page. Next, I want to hit another big tab within your account, which is your settings. And something I want to mention is if you already created a CubiCasa account prior to us affiliating with Realcomp, you can still add that Realcomp discount code to your account. You again will want to go under your settings, and then you will have this MLS membership tab appear for you. If you don't, it probably means you have the wrong customer type selected. So under general and customer type, just make sure you have either agent or appraiser selected. From here, hit save. refresh the page, and this MLS membership tab should appear for you. From here, all you have to do is type in your MLS name, your MLS login ID, select verify account, and then add membership. And then that MLS discount code should appear for you on your account. If you ever have any questions or issues adding that MLS discount code, feel free to contact our customer support team, and we'd be more than happy to guide you through the process and making sure that that discount code is added for you on the account. The next tab is your billing. So again, you will have a quick snapshot view of your current monthly bill at the top. Below, you'll be able to add your payment information and also see your MLS discount code. And then below will be your billing history. If you ever want to see a detailed view of your billing, simply go to Billing Report, and then under Invoice Detail, you'll be able to see line-by-line items of what add-ons have been included to your floor plan and the pricing that is associated with those add-ons per order. So a great place if you need to print a receipt or if you just want to see a more detailed view of your current invoicing. The next tab is offices and users. So if you need multiple users within your account, you can actually go here to add an office space and then invite other people to join your company account. Simply get started by selecting add offices, and then you'll type in your office name. From here, you'll be able to invite users, and all you have to do is just add in their email address, first and last name, and the access level for that particular user that you would like. From there, they will receive an email invitation asking them to finish their account to join yours and start creating scans for you. And the last tab I want to cover is your styling. So this is where you'll be able to really customize your floor plans to client preferences or your own. And if you are new with us, you won't have any templates created like I have here. So you can get started by selecting Create New. From here, you can go through all our different styling options that we have available, such as how you want the decimals to show, whether you want the dimensions or the square footage per room or both. You can add your logo, and you can also customize the colors based on room types. We do have default styles available for you as well. The example I showed earlier had our popular earth tone style to it. And if you want to adjust the particular color, simply click on the color and you'll be taken to this option where you can select and really customize the colors to your own preferences. You can even adjust the label text style, font, and the way that you want the casting on the text to show as well. And below, I do want to highlight that you have different options of how you want the measurements displayed at the bottom of your floor plan. The free version will come with GLA and total scanned area for now. And if you want the GLA option, you do need to purchase that add-on. Just for a quick reference, the total scanned area includes everything that is scanned into one number, regardless if it's interior or exterior space. The GIA is gross internal area. This is the interior square footage of the property, and it excludes all exterior measurements. And then you guys might be more familiar with GLA, gross living area. This will include all the finished livable space, highlight the spaces that are excluded, and also include that exterior wall thickness for you. So depending on what measurement you need displayed, you can select that option here. And if you don't want any measurements at all, that's not a problem. You can simply unselect this feature here and hit save. And once you're done adding all your styling options, you will have your style template show up for you here. So you can see you can create as many styles as you want, and as you create more, you can select which one will be your default style for all future orders. So you don't really have to think about it whenever you create a new scan. That style will be automatically included for you. I will mention that it won't update all existing style orders that you have already created. If you want to adjust the style of an order that's been created in the past, all you have to do is go back to your orders or dashboard page, select the order itself, and then again, under our Actions tab, you will select Use Another Style, and then from here, select the style that you just created or updated, select Change Style, wait 3 to 5 minutes, and then that new style will appear for you on the floor plan. So that's pretty much it when it comes to navigating a high-level view of your accounts. As I mentioned earlier, our customer support team is always available to assist you with any questions you might have. You will notice this chat bubble following you around the screen wherever you go. And from here, you can simply go under messages to contact a live representative, and they'll be more than happy to assist you with any questions that you might have. But with that, Joseph, I'll pass it back to you in case we got any questions.
Yeah, so we've had a lot of questions coming through. To start, I'll say if you look at the chat function, I sent over a couple of links there. So I sent a link to our knowledge base, which is the help center. We have articles outlining basically everything that you can do within CubiCasa, touching on some of the things that Daniela just showed us. And I also included a link to our YouTube channel. So we have short form video content kind of walking you through some of those same things. We also have helpful videos as you're getting started, like best scanning practices. So I always recommend taking a look at those before you do your first scan. Some of the other links I included tie into some questions that came through regarding what devices can I use. So there's a link for what our currently supported devices are. With Apple, it's anything iPhone 8 or newer. With Android, it's a little bit different because there are so many different phone manufacturers. But if you have a device that has augmented reality or AR capabilities, that's what we use for the app itself. So you can get some more information on that link. And then the other questions that came through were regarding pricing. So I included a link to the dedicated pricing page. All of the add-ons that you select are on a per use basis. So everything's a la carte where you can kind of pick and choose what you need for each individual property. And then each of those add-ons will be priced just for that individual home. So there's no, additional monthly fees, no annual costs, anything like that. It's just a per use basis. So it's what you're actually wanting to use for those properties, no additional costs beyond that. And again, if you're just using the free basic version, you're never going to be charged for that. We do still require the card on file just to verify the account after you complete that first scan. But if you're just using the free basic version, you'll still be able to access, your invoice that lists out what scans you've done, but it's going to be $0. There will be no cost for that. Some other interesting questions that I think, Daniela, you might be able to better answer. We had a question if the app will work for boat docks, and then questions about if you forgot to scan something like a garage, do you have to go back out and scan it again, or is that something that you can submit to you, or to us rather, as part of the fix process or changing the floor plan?
Great question. So yes, I have seen boat docks been successfully scanned. So you can scan them if you want. And then regarding missing areas, I just want to note a little disclaimer. We can add 1 to 2 missing spaces, but anything beyond that we can't, just because it starts to really degrade the accuracy of the floor plan. But if it's just the garage or room that's missing, you can either submit a reference file, so like a screenshot showing us, hey, this is where that missing room should be located. Or if you are concerned more about the accuracy, I do recommend rescanning simply that missing room and the surrounding areas, and then messaging our team, and we can get the production team to go ahead and include that space into the original scan for you.
Excellent. Thank you. Another question that came up was regarding, settings of products that can be purchased. So you can actually go into your settings within the desktop version and select which products are available for purchase. You can also set what's going to be your defaults. So if you know that you want the plus or the fixed furniture every single time, you can set that as the default. And then as an extension of that question, it sounds like there's a question about if clients can make changes or purchase add-ons on their own. The answer is no. So everything will be done within your account. You can select what products or add-ons get selected. And then what our agents are typically doing is just saving out the floor plans as images. And they'll either share directly with the client from there or just upload them into the listing itself alongside the other photos. Another question that came up was regarding measurements. Is this something that you can scan into us without or send into us rather without doing the scan. Sadly, no, the app is designed to actually scan and capture all of the measurements as you walk through. So you do need to scan the property for us to create a floor plan. And then there were a few additional questions about if this is going to be recorded. Yes, we are recording today's session. I believe Fran will be sharing it out later, and then we'll have the video accessible after the fact. So if you want to reach out to us directly, I'll have it saved, or reach out to Fran, or anybody at the MLS should be able to give you access to that. Something I'm going to highlight too, I've reshared my screen here with these two different QR codes. The one on the left is what you'll scan to create your account if you haven't already. And then the QR code on the right-hand side will connect you with our photographers. So if you want floor plans, but you don't necessarily want to create them yourself, you can connect with one of the photographers that we already work with. All right, and it looks like we still have tons of questions coming in, so I will touch on some of these. How do you get the scan on the MLS? So this is what I was mentioning a second ago. Most of our users are just saving out the floor plans as images and uploading them with the rest of the photographs when they're actually creating the listing. Do you talk while doing the scan? Can you hear us explain the house? So you don't need to. By default, we will automatically label all of the rooms. You know, if you're scanning a space and we can see that there's a refrigerator and an oven and a sink, we know that that's a kitchen. If there's a desk in the space and, you know, chairs in front of it, we can make sense that that's an office. So we'll label all of the rooms by default, and then you have the option of adjusting those. I know certain areas like living rooms have multiple names: living room, great room, family room, all that sort of stuff, rec room, den, whatever you want to call it. You can go in and actually change all of those labels so it matches exactly what you need. And there were a couple of issues with account creation. So if you run into any errors with creating your password or resetting the password, just hit the chat icon and let us know the email address that you're using to create your account. And we'll be able to either reset that for you. If you need some help associating your MLS, anything like that, just hit that chat icon and get connected directly with us. Is there a best way to start the scan? So it's really up to you. The only thing you want to think about is just making sure that you don't miss any space. So if you want to kind of like think about the route that you're going to take through the home before you get started, I always recommend that. I work with a photographer who said he always starts at the front door, takes a left, and just follows the perimeter of the entire space from there. So that's an option too. The other key thing is don't forget any of those additional spaces that you want included. If the garage is detached, for example, if you have a small patio off the side of the home, certain things like that that you know you're going to want included. Just try to think of that in advance before you actually start the scan, and then you can scan all of the property from there. Another common question we get is, are there going to be any sort of issues if I scan the same space more than once? So, you know, don't scan the entire room multiple times if you can avoid it. But certain areas like hallways, you know, we know that you're probably going to have to walk up and down the hallway to get bedrooms at the end of it, that sort of thing. So that is totally fine. And that square footage will not be doubled. So that's another question we get. You know, if I walk up and down the hallway 3 times, does that count as 3 times the square footage? No, we'll process all of that correctly. So it's only captured once. Can we practice by scanning our own homes? Yes, absolutely. So I always recommend doing that as you're getting started. You'll also have access to that free basic version. It's unlimited. So if you wanted to practice on your home, your family's homes, you know, your neighbors, walk through their house, it's up to you. I always recommend start on your own house. You'll get a feel for the scanning process. You'll probably already be familiar with the measurements within your own home, so you can see the accuracy and things like that as well. Question regarding accuracy, margin of error. So if you are using an Android device or an older iPhone, you should see 95% plus accuracy. If you're using one of the newer iPhone Pros, or actually iPad Pros as well, that have LiDAR, that does help to make things a little bit more precise, anywhere from like 97% plus. So you should see super accurate by default. We are going to include a disclaimer along the bottom of the floor plan that says measurements calculated by CubiCasa technology. deemed highly reliable, but not guaranteed, just to kind of cover your bases there. If you do see measurements that are, completely far off, they're totally wrong, something looks wonky, just reach out to us through either the fix request or just chat in with us and we'll take a closer look. We can review, the scan itself to see if there's anything that errored out there, or if we do need to make adjustments to the actual measurements themselves. That's something that we have the capability of tweaking on our end. Okay. Do you scan going up the stairs? Good point. Yes, absolutely. As you walk up the staircase from one floor to the next, ensure that you scan the staircase as you're walking up, and we'll actually recreate that into the floor plans. Question regarding where to start the scan. Do you start in the basement, not at the front door? It's really up to you. Our, best scanning practice recommendation is to start in the basement or the lowest level of the home and just kind of work your way up. That way you're not really scanning spaces multiple times as you walk through, but it's really up to you, whatever works best to kind of, work your way through the entire home. Just that point that I was making a few minutes ago, make sure that you don't forget any spaces as you're walking through. Do we scan inside closets? Yes. So capture every single space that's within the home. If you do have, smaller closets or pantries or things like that, that you can't actually like walk into and scan the perimeter, just kind of point your arm in with the device in your hand and rotate it around to capture the perimeter of that space. And we'll recreate that onto the floor plan. Should you go room by room or should you go rooms that are connected? So this is, again, just kind of goes back to go through the home, whatever makes the most sense for you, where you're not going to miss any of the spaces. There's no, set path that you need to follow. And I think that ties into the 3D options that are available as well. So if you did want us to create like the 3D video rendering, for example, the route that you actually take through the home will not matter. So we won't actually follow that if we're creating a video for you. We'll streamline it, what makes the most sense to kind of go throughout the entire home. So you don't need to worry if you have the perfect route through the home. Just do what makes the most sense for you. And again, kind of the best practice that we recommend, start in the lowest level, work your way up. If there's an attached bath to the bedroom, do you scan each separate? Yes. So in that case, we would recommend scan the entire bedroom and then walk into the connected bathroom and scan the interior of that. And then once you have the floor plan itself, it will separate those two areas. So you can see this is the designated bathroom. This is the designated bedroom. How long are the scans accessible? So the floor plans will remain in your account until you delete them. So they'll always be available for you to come back to. That's actually something I always mention too. If you create, a basic free floor plan for your client, say the home hasn't sold in a couple of months, hopefully not that long, couple of weeks, let's rephrase that. You can come back and get additional products if you wanted to. If they wanted to add, a 3D option just to better visualize the space, you can come back to that previous scan, purchase additional products, or if you wanted to change it up. So Daniela showed us how to create custom styles. If you have it saved out as, just a simple black and white floor plan, and now you want to create one that kind of matches your broker branding that you can use to print out as, an open home takeaway, anything like that, you can go back in, change up the styling, save out multiple versions, and they'll all remain saved with your account. How do I scan unfinished or homes that are being rehabbed that are fully gutted? So we would recommend waiting until you at least have walls up in the space. If the home is under construction, it can still absolutely be scanned. But if you are in, the kitchen space, for example, or the bathroom, and it's basically just studs, we're not really going to be able to recreate what the kitchen is actually going to look like in that space for the regular floor plans. So I always recommend wait until you're kind of closer to the end of the project to actually do the scanning and create the floor plan. I noticed that the camera was focused on where the wall and floor meet. Is that best to include part of the floor in your camera view? So by default, we always recommend kind of capturing where the floor meets the wall and ensuring that you see any sort of wall space. And that ties into a couple of questions that came up earlier regarding furniture and things like that. So the app will absolutely be able to see through, clutter in the home. Don't worry if there's kids' toys on the floor or anything like that. That won't be factored in. As long as you can see part of the wall as you're scanning and walking through, that will capture everything that we need. Can we also use the furniture generator for new construction or vacant homes with 3D floor plans? Yes. So we can fill in empty spaces with furniture. We have kind of, preset furniture that we can put into a room if you let us know what sort of style you're looking for. If a certain room should be set up as an office or a bedroom or whatever, you're able to leave notes when you submit the scan to us, and we can recreate that for you. It's not quite as in-depth as something like virtual staging, where you can kind of pick and choose each individual product, but we can definitely fill the room with space to help potential home buyers better visualize it. If it's an open floor plan, say you have a dining room connected to a living room, do you pause at some point to determine or define the space? No. So we can do all of that automatically, and that can be adjusted again after the fact. So say you want to recommend that the dining room starts 2 feet further than we notify or than we include it, you can go in and make that adjustment. You can either tweak it in the quick edit tool, or you can just contact us directly through our support team and we'll fix that. At a later time, can Realcomp send the preferred photographers? So this will actually always be available within your dashboard. So once you've created a CubiCasa account, you'll be able to access local photographers based on your geolocation at any point. Then it looks like one final question here. How long does it take to get a 2D floor plan? So our 2D floor plans will be turned around within 24 hours, and then the 3D floor plans will be within 48 hours. You do have the option of choosing a faster turnaround time if you need it a little bit quicker, but you should see all of the 2D options within 1 day. All right, so I think that covers everything, and I know we're almost at time here. So I've got these QR codes pulled up. If you have any sort of questions as you're getting started, please don't hesitate to click that chat bubble that will follow you throughout. We will be available for any sort of questions as you're creating your account, as you're getting started, and later on down the line, if you need some help editing or customizing your floor plans, we will always be available. But thank you everyone so much for joining us today. We really appreciate the time. We really appreciate all of the questions coming through. It's exciting to see that everybody's very engaged and excited about using the product. So definitely check it out, download the app, do a test scan of your own home. You'll get a feel for how easy it is to use. And it's a nice way to, I know for me, I really liked scanning my own house and just kind of looking at the measurements and everything there. So planning out what I'm going to do with our second guest bedroom. So definitely download the app, do a test scan, and keep us posted with any questions. But thank you everyone for joining us. Fran, I'll toss it to you in case you have any final, closing thoughts. But I think it's worth sharing with the group. This was recorded today, so don't worry if you missed a piece of it or if you want to, refer back to any of these questions that we covered today.
Very good. Wow. Lots of information. So thank you, Joseph. Thank you, Daniela. Really great. We will record, we have recorded. We will post it also on our YouTube channel. You'll get the email probably within 24 hours with the link to our YouTube version. And I will also include the links that you shared, Joseph. So I'll include that in the email as well. So thank you both. And thank you everyone for joining us. And we hope you have a great day.
Absolutely. Thanks, everyone. Enjoy your week.
Bye. Take care.
Bye-bye.